Hey guys, welcome in this new video. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the 5 hottest business sector to get started if you wanna launch your entrepreneurship journey in Vietnam. So in this video, we may discuss about the tourism industry, F&B industry in Vietnam that has been booming over the last year, garments and textile industry, exports, as well as launching your own digital agency in Vietnam. So before we get started, why Vietnam? Basically, Vietnam is an emerging market. There will be a lot of opportunities to catch up in this part of the world. Maybe you are already running, or maybe you wanted to run a business overseas in developed countries such as Europe, France, the US. Sometimes the cost that will require you to launch this kind of business will be very significant. Here, if you want to get started and start your business in Vietnam, you will basically be able to start with way less money than what it would require you if you want to start this business overseas. The second point why Vietnam is because here we have a very growing population of 100 million inhabitants. This is a frontier market, so you have the good and the bad of this kind of growing and emerging economy, but on the other side you have a growing GDP of around 7% per year. So if you wanna get started and launch your business in Vietnam, feel free to check everything below in the description. There will be some resources, some guide. Here you are on Move to Asia YouTube channel with a lot of content about business and investment opportunity in Vietnam. Let's get started. So the first business sector we're going to talk in this video, it's obviously the tourism industry. So before the pandemic, Vietnam get more and more traction every year regarding to the inbound of tourism traveling to Vietnam. It used to be countries like Thailand that were in the top of the list, but we've observed Vietnam getting more and more position about attraction from international tourists to visit this amazing country. And obviously, because we had 2 years of very tough pandemic, the tourism sectors in Vietnam was almost a big chaos. So finally, there will be a lot of opportunities to catch up in this business sector because most of the tour and travel agency died. Many companies bankrupt. It can be hotel, it can be tour operators, it can be guest house, it can be any kind of sectors and people involved in that industry. So if that's something you are considering about, for instance, opening a guest house in a certain location on Vietnam, you have places in Vietnam, in Nha Trang, for instance, Da Nang, even in some hot spot area around Ha Long Bay, Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City that got really impacted by this pandemic. So obviously, if you have this entrepreneurship mindset, if you already have some experience into running this kind of offline business, the tourism sector in Vietnam can represent a very good opportunity for you in 2022 and beyond. So now let's move to the second hottest sector as the garment industry in Vietnam. So what about the garment and textile industry in Vietnam? Actually, in 2021, it has been one of the top sectors having the most important growth for Vietnam. And according to the Vitas, in 2021, the export value of fabrics and fibers was reported to be the largest amount ever, 9 billion, and exporting rivals like Bangladesh and Myanmar have started to purchase Vietnam fabrics. And for 2022, Vietnam textile garment industry is expecting to earn 40 billion in exports for this year. when COVID-19 pandemic is expecting to ease in Vietnam, and according to the world industry expert, that trend should keep going up over the next years for Vietnam. And this is actually the trend that we observe for Vietnam among the last years compared to other countries in the region because of the China-US trade war. So actually, because Trump increased the tariff from China goods, more and more companies are relocating from China to Vietnam, and because the textile and garment industry in Vietnam was very strong before, then this trend and this attraction from Vietnam for this industry may continue in the next upcoming years. So now let's move to the third hot sectors in Vietnam, is the digital agency. So you may have heard about companies such as ZaloPay, Momo, Tiki, Shopee, VNG, and actually VNG and Momo are right now two tech unicorns of Vietnam. So obviously, because with this growing interest into digitalization everywhere, you have a lot of things to do in that kind of business sectors. For instance, if you are someone already working in tech overseas, if you already are building software, you can hire a tech team here in Vietnam. It can be first doing some outsourcing for your foreign business, and in a second term, you can also consider to target the local market here in Vietnam. You have also the trend of all the digital related skills such as SEO, content marketing, copywriting, email marketing. You can find here in Vietnam as well talents that can help you to grow your digital agency. For instance, you have here a lot of people that start to have very good English skills, so we cannot compare two people that are, for instance, coming from the Philippines, but more and more Vietnamese and young generations start to have very good English, so they can be very competitive on an international market. And on the other side, because you will be the business owner running this kind of digital agency, you can build a team here hiring young Vietnamese that are motivated and are looking for working for an international company. It can help you to expand your business overseas. You also have all the crypto and blockchain related industry, and here in Vietnam you start to have more and more companies working in those industries. You start to have all the universities providing a workforce with that exact research skills. So if you are considering or already having a tech business, you can consider hiring a Vietnamese tech team in Vietnam, or they can also be working for all digital related services. And I've been actually contacted recently from foreign companies to hire tech and young developers here in Vietnam. If you are looking for this kind of service, check below in the description and we will see how we can help you through your journey of starting your business in Vietnam and building your tech team. And now we come to the fourth business sector that Vietnam is known for. It's about the exports. So this industry has always been outstanding strengths in Vietnam. According to the Vietnam Fruit and Vegetable Association, Vinafruit, many container trucks carrying bananas and dragon fruit have got custom clearance for export to China from 3rd of February. As mentioned, for garment and textile, Vietnam's products are also exported to many countries in Europe and Asia. And as for the seafood industry, the Secretary General of Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters said that the fact that seafood exports in 2021 obtained a turnover of nearly $9 billion. This is considered as the miracle given to the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, we come now to the fifth and last item of this video, another sector that has been booming over the last year, and obviously because of COVID in Vietnam, it has highly been impacted. So on the other side, there will be a lot of opportunity to catch up in this business sector. It's about the F&B in Vietnam. Okay, so this last sector, the F&B in Vietnam, obviously all the restaurants, coffee shop, etc., targeting the international tourist has been highly impacted by the COVID pandemic. And on the other side, the business that rely on digital, that was also targeting the local tourists, expats, community, etc. Some of them really managed to grow. And I personally know some brand owners that managed to open different outlets thanks to this COVID pandemic. Of course, because they have a very good product, they had the price that was fitting a certain audience, and you have on the other side the Vietnamese consumer that tend and they like to try and explore different cuisine. We know that Vietnamese cuisine is very rich. That's why for those Vietnamese people, especially the young generation, they are very tempted to try different type of food. So as someone who wants to consider launching such an F&B business, if you find the right product targeting the right consumer here in Vietnam, you can really hope and get good traction for the launch of your brand. And then because usually you can hire in Vietnam the labor for a very cheap cost. So if you are someone who already have experience running an F&B business, a coffee, a restaurant, a bar, you can choose a certain district of Ho Chi Minh City that, for instance, doesn't have Mexican food, burger, Indian food, etc. And you can either partner with someone who already have the experience or the connection here in Ho Chi Minh City and get your journey starting into running an F&B business in Vietnam. So here is for the 5 business sectors I wanted to tell you today in this video. If you have other business sectors in mind, you may still consider them if you are looking into starting your entrepreneurship journey here in Vietnam. The 5 hot topic I share today is because they are very trending and they have been knowing and expecting growth in the next upcoming years, but obviously depending on your own experience and what you want to do, you may consider others. Feel free to drop me a line and a comment below if you want to discuss with me and share your thoughts about what we discussed in this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a thumbs up and I see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight,